If you want to understand why the media's Trump-Clinton coverage has been such a disaster, we have to talk about false equivalence. False equivalence is when two very different things, say Trump and Clinton, are treated as if they're the same or similar, especially by the media. Now, before you tune out, I know that sounds vague and theoretical, so let me explain it a different way. Imagine a horse race. You've got the Clinton horse, the Bernie horse, the Cruz and Kasich horses, even a Jill Stein horse. Imagine a bunch of reporters who are used to seeing this play out every 4 years, used to seeing the two strongest horses race neck and neck to an exciting photo finish. Got it? I know it's weird, just stick with me. Now imagine that this year, a wild bull charges onto the track and just starts going nuts. It's charging the other horses, smashing into the railings, attacking Muslims and Mexicans in the audience, even goring some of the reporters. Now you'd think, given the unique situation, that the reporters would be freaking out. They'd be screaming, "Holy shit, run for your lives, this is not normal." After all, they're reporters. If something really dangerous is happening, it's their job to say, "Time out, something really dangerous is happening." But imagine if they didn't do that. If they just kept covering the race as if it was business as usual. They'd say things like, "What a strange looking horse. What an unconventional way to run this race." Even worse, imagine the reporters started focusing on problems with the Clinton horse. Are we sure that horse is healthy enough to run this race? Isn't that horse a little too old to run this race? Are we sure that saddle's regulation size? You'd see headlines comparing the two like, "Horses face questions about racing ability," or "Horses stumble on their way to the finish line." If you actually saw this happening, you'd think the reporters had lost their damn minds. How could they treat these two like equally flawed competitors? That is false equivalence. And that's what's happened in a lot of news coverage this election. On one hand, you've got a conventional candidate who has faced her fair share of controversies, but is otherwise pretty normal. And then you've got the wild bull, a candidate who cozies up to white supremacists, advocates for torture and war crimes, attacks the First Amendment and free press, wants to ban a whole religion from entering the country, makes racist attacks on Mexicans and Mexican Americans, the list goes on and on. These are not similarly flawed candidates, but campaign reporters are so used to the horse race, so used to the photo finish, that they're not always comfortable admitting when there's a wild bull on the track. The fear being that freaking out about the bull would be biased or unfair or just not their job. Which is why a lot of news outlets have paid the same amount of attention to things like the Clinton Foundation or Clinton's emails as they have to the unprecedented, democracy-threatening dumpster fire that is the Trump campaign. And when news outlets treat Trump and Clinton like two equally flawed competitors, audiences internalize that. They start believing that Trump controversies and Clinton controversies are equally newsworthy or disqualifying or normal. But this hasn't been a normal election. There's been a goddamn bull rampaging on the track. And news outlets that have treated Trump and Clinton as if they're somehow the same, as if their controversies are somewhat comparable, have misled their audiences. And they've done a real disservice to anyone who wants to understand what's really at stake in this election.